And Shabbat Shalom. Welcome here to the Light to the Nations channel. We are so blessed to be once again with all of you here in this new Shabbat, where we are beginning a new cycle.
Yeah, new cycle with the prophets.
With the prophets.
With a very big prophet.
And it's one of the most important prophets in my point of view, because he was in a specific and a very important period of time, and he gave so many important prophecies for the time that he was living, and also until the latter days.
Yeah.
And actually, we're going to read one of them today.
Okay.
Right? So it's so good to be with you. It's so good to see many of you here in the chat, just taking time to spend some time with all of us here in Shabbat, just to share the heart, the love of Yahuwah within us. And there are so many things going on in the world. Many things are unfolding. We have been talking about this for so long. It should not be a surprise. We just need to be so ready and attentive in order to do what Yahuwah wants us to do in this time and age.
Yeah, with our sandals on our feet, with the girdle in our waist, with the staff.
It's a kind of living Pesach every day, right?
Yeah.
Just to be ready to run.
Now it's kind of different. Yeah. Time ago maybe it was once a week, and I think that today is like something like every day that we have to be ready. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I think this book is going to be a blessing to all of us. I have to be honest, it's not going to be an easy one, because going through the prophets, there are so many things that we are totally blind yet.
Yeah.
But as we have been doing for so long here in these studies here in Light to the Nations, we are going just to rely on Abba to teach us through the Ruach, and to allow us to understand
but
and to speak.
You know what is beautiful? That when the prophets, they were sharing all the words of Yahuwah, is not only for the people at that time. It's also something that is for us, that we are living right now. Is maybe a daily call of attention, also words of encouragement, also to a kind of, how are you? What are you doing? With which situation of Israel you are comparing yourself today. And I think that is the most important thing, that today we need to heed those words, even though sometimes they are going to be maybe some harsh words, but we need them. Yeah.
I think I like to think that the word of Yahuwah is timeless.
Yeah,
it's totally applicable to every generation.
Yeah.
And in the same way, prophecy, as just saw the comment from Camila, prophecy has a confirmation, and also is applicable in different aspects.
Yeah, and it's going to be...
It's being fulfilled more than once.
Yeah,
that's my point.
Yeah, and it's going to be touching you, maybe you and myself, in a complete different way. So it's something that we have to open our ears, open our hearts, open our understanding, our eyes, to see what Abba is trying to speak to us. Because even though we can be a family, even though we can be a flock, He is taking care of each one of us. And everybody has something to work more. That's why we are in this earth. That's why we are still here. Because He's still requesting something from us. We are not ready yet. Something we are still missing. And when the time is okay, He's going to take us. So I think
and
that
this is somehow related. What you just said is somehow related to what I received this morning about salvation. So we're going to study about that after this study. So it's so good to see you. I see Beetlejuice here, Christina. Keeps digging 7. Steven. I see Corina that just joined us. Who else? Yaya is here. Wendy, Michael. Who else?
Camila.
Let's see, Marcia is here as well. Will is also with us. Rain
and
Ananiek is also with us. Kyle, I saw Kyle was the first one joining us in the chat. Good to see you, brother. And Watai is also here with us.
Yeah.
Good. Who else? And I see somebody that is the first time that I see is Nomadic Media. So welcome to
Yeah.
these studies.
Yeah,
It's so
Nomad
good.
maybe.
And Shannon also
Nomad.
is here with us.
Shannon, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So, before we continue, I think I want to...
And all the ones who are going to arrive or maybe watch later.
Yes, and maybe that
Yeah.
you are not participating in
Yeah.
the chat. You are
Yeah.
also super welcome to these
Yeah.
studies. It's a blessing to all of us, and to us actually as well, to have the chance, to share the word of Yahuwah with all of you. Naomi Ruth is also with us, so welcome. So we are going to do some housekeeping or domestic announcement.
Okay.
And before we go with the study, because let me share something here. I'm going to...
Because of a promise that we have.
And not only that, as I said, we are just beginning with the study of the book of YaHuWaH, Isaiah, Isaías in Spanish.
In Spanish, Isaías.
And we already put all the portions. It's going to be a long cycle because it's 66 chapters, and we try to... It is so much information in this book that we try to portion it in the best way possible, just to make it fit to the studies every Shabbat. If not, if we are going to take just one chapter, it's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
Or we can take too many chapters.
Yeah.
And it's going to be super fast and without the chance to go into the deeper levels of understanding. So we already put the portions, and let me show you. I will invite you to go to the website. It's not a super detailed website because as I have been telling you, this is something that I'm doing myself. And, it's time consuming. And unfortunately, I don't have currently the time to take care of this, but there is some information that I want to share with you here. So in case you don't have the address, here it is in the chat, is the www.lighttothenations.com. So you can go there. And let me show you. You wanted to say something?
No, that it maybe has the basic information, like when some people are interested in the calendars, and the
portions.
The
we
portions,
have some music we have put over here. Let me go to the music corner. So
maybe we can update something. Yeah.
Yes, I need to update that. That's the point.
Yeah.
So I just had put links to some of the videos of the music we are using here every Shabbat. But if you go to home here, you can go to weekly Parsha and just click here. And this one I was doing it this week just to update it. Here you have all the cycles, the Torah cycle, what we did with the Joshua to Kings, are all the cycles over there. And we already added the prophet cycles. So you can go there. It's in a different format because I tried to do it much faster. We didn't have the time to do it in the same format that the others, but with time we will do it differently. But you can go there and just click. If you're from a phone, just click the image, and it's going to open in the same page, and you are going to be able to zoom in or zoom out the image just to see all the portions we're going to do for the book of Isaiah, YaHuWaH. So today we're going to start with the portion number 1, that is
Shim'u Debar YaHuWaH.
Shim'u Debar YaHuWaH, that the meaning is hear the word of Yahuwah. And this phrase, as we have been telling you, we are taking it directly from the portions, and you can find it in the chapter 1, verse 10. So, Shim'u Debar YaHuWaH, that is somehow is the Shema Israel. Is here. Okay? So, this is a first thing that we wanted to share with you. And so let me see first if there is any question before continuing with the rest. And we are just doing some kind of housekeeping. Okay, so I will invite you. No questions, so good. Let's continue. So, in addition to that, we added here is something in the resources. So I will invite you to go to resources, and go to studies over here. Just click in studies. And we just added something that we commented last week, right? And Lillian and myself were working on this this week. And here you will find some materials that are related to the study we did on the book of Shmuel and Kings, mainly.
Yeah, mainly Kings.
So you just can click here, and you are going to have the chance to download a chart we just prepared with the list of the kings of the two houses. Let me open it for you. It's going to open here in the same page. And here you have the list of the kings of Israel for the house of Judah and the house of Israel, and also what are the prophets that were somehow on during that time.
Those periods, yeah.
So here you have the two kings and who was contemporary, the king from the house of Yehuda or Judah, and who was the contemporary king in the house of Israel, and who was the contemporary prophet on that time. And here at the left and the right with the yellow arrows is the reference of the amount of years or the time they were sovereigns, reigning or ruling. So here you have all the information on everything we have been studying so far. You have the name in Hebrew, the transliteration, and in parentheses is the name in English. Okay? For the prophets, we didn't put the names in English, but I think you are used to hear us talking on the names in Hebrew. Okay? So you can go down and you will see all of them, starting from the first king that was Shaul, until the last king that was, the last king of the house of Israel was Hoshea ben Elah. And, it's black over here because, the house of Israel was removed from the land.
Yeah.
It was during, as we were studying, from the time of Ahaz and Hizkiyahu mainly. And then we have all the kings of the house of Judah. And also we included the governors that we know, that is written in the book of Kings, and also Zerubbabel, that after the returning from Babylon.
Yeah.
Okay.
About the colors.
You can mention about the colors.
Yeah, that we decided to put in green the ones that were having a very good behavior.
They were righteous.
They were righteous. And in red, the one that they were not so righteous.
They were do evil in the eyes of
Yahuwah. And there are some cases that you are going to have a mixed color. That's why sometimes they started a good way, a good path, but they ended leaving the path. So they were going astray. And in some other cases, the opposite, that they were bad kings, but at the end they repented and they made teshuvah, or they regret about their behavior, or they cried out to Yahuwah.
Correct.
And Yahuwah decided in some cases to provide
forgiveness.
Forgiveness. Yeah.
So this is a chart just for you to have it at hand. You can go here to this arrow over here on the right corner, upper corner, this one, and if you click it, you are going to be able to download a copy of this to your computer. You can print it, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Okay. And the second one, this one over here, is a spreadsheet. We included more information. So what you need to do is just to click it, and when you click it, it's gonna download over here automatically, and you will see here in the top corner, right corner, is going to download a copy of the and you can do a click on the file, and what you are gonna see, let me show you, is this file over here. And this file over here is an Excel file, and we included more information. So Lillian was working hard this week in order to put, here is the Hebrew name. It's also in sequence of all the kings. The first table is the kings of the house of Judah or Yehuda. And if you go to the right is the list of the house of Israel. And is the same pattern, just to see, this was the king of the house of Yehuda, and at the same time, this was the king of the house of Israel. So what we have included here is the name in Hebrew, the name in English, and also Lilian was helping on the
meaning of the name.
The meaning of the name is the name of the mother of the king.
Yeah, when we have them.
And also you included
the meaning of the name of the mother.
The ruling years, how long they were ruling.
Yeah.
The age when they became kings.
Yeah.
And also if they were righteous or not.
Yeah. And now I realized that I made a typo mistake there.
Okay.
Okay, so we have to work on that.
Then we have few notes just to have additional information about the king and so on.
Like highlights.
Exactly. And the reference, when we can find the information in the scriptures, in the book of Samuel, Chronicles, Kings, and so on. And you have all this information for the house of Israel, the same thing, based on what we found. You can see that during this period is that the northern kingdom were destroyed, the 10 tribes of Israel. And, I just made a mistake here, but here. This is our hope, right? The 10 tribes of Israel removed from the land and never came back, but soon they will in our time.
Yeah.
Okay? So let me go back here. So again, I really hope that this is going, helpful for you. It's helpful for us.
Yeah.
And actually we can use it a little bit in this study of YaHuWaH. So the invitation is that you can go to the website and just download this material that is going to complement your studies of the word. Okay? So let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on. As we always do, let me share with you a song we have selected for today, and I think it somehow is relevant to the study. So let me click here and let's move on. Here we go.
יקום במקום קודשו, מי יקרא בשם אדוני צבאות. מי יצום על בוא החטא, מי יחזיק מעמד, מי ישמע את קול אדוני כואב ואומר, זהו דור נושע מבקשי פני שרים לי כל הכבוד, כל הכבוד. זהו דור דורשי מבקשי פני שרים לי כל הכבוד. ונקום במקום קודשו, ונקרא בשם אדוני צבאות. ונצום על מוח החתן ונחזיק מעמד ונקמע את כל אדוני קורא ואומר זהו דור דורשיו מבקשי פניי שרים לי כל הכבוד כל הכבוד זהו דור דורשיו מבקשי פניי שרים לי כל הכבוד 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 לך על מה שעשית על מה שאתה עושה על מה שעוד תעשה אבא אבא טוב אבא טוב כי הפרוכת נקראה ואנחנו מתקרבים אל תוך הקודש קודש הקודשים הפרוכת נקראה ואנחנו מתקרבים אל תוך הקודש קודש הפרוכת נקראה ואנחנו מתקרבים אל תוך הקודש אבל מאמינים שהפרוכת נקראה ואנחנו מתקרבים אל תוך הקודש קודש הקודשים כל הכבוד כל הכבוד כל הכבוד כל הכבוד כל הכבוד כל שילם את המחיר אז נדרוש אותך אנחנו דור דורשיו אנחנו דור דורשיו מבקשי פניו שרים כל הכבוד כל הכבוד אנחנו דור דורשיו מבקשי פניו שרים כל הכבוד
So, such a beautiful song. You know, that should be our heart in order to get closer to Yahuwah. So let's pray together. Yahuwah Elohim Sebot, we want to give thanks to you in this moment, in this new Shabbat, because of your love, your compassion toward us, because you are the one calling us in this time to get closer to you. You are the one who took our hands, and you have been the one leading us on the way to come back to you. And you have sent your son, Yahushua HaMashiach, to lead us on the way in order to return and to be part of your kingdom. We want to tell you, Abba, in this moment that we want to give our hearts to you, that we want to serve you, that we want to obey your voice, O Yahuwah. That in these times of these last days is when we want to be much closer to you, O Yahuwah. Just to give our lives so you can use us in the way you want. We want to do what is right in your eyes, O Yahuwah. And we want to leave this world and to be with you. O Yahuwah, in this moment, we pray to you and we ask you, Abba, that you can guide us in this new study we are beginning just today. That you can guide us in every step we take. That you can give us of your wisdom, O Yahuwah. We can understand what you want to teach us. We invite you, O Yahuwah, in this moment, that you can be with us and among us, no matter the distance, no matter where we are in the world. That your Ruach can unite us all in your love, in the love of your Son Yahushua. And that you can teach us your ways so we can walk in that way of yours. Yahuwah, we need your strength. We need of your Ruach HaKodesh in order to endure until the end. And we need your truth, Abba, in order to live according to your covenant and your Torah. And we're so thankful to you, Yahuwah, because you have sent your Son in order to teach us the true way to serve you, the true way to keep your covenant. And because he has sent your Ruach HaKodesh, Yahuwah Sebaot, in order to make us remember every word he has said. And thank you, Abba, because it has so profound meaning. Because your Son Yahushua has been speaking from the very beginning of creation. I pray for each one of your children here with us today. And I pray for each one of those that are going to see this study later on, that you can touch their hearts, that you can be with them, that you can strengthen their emunah, their belief, that you can provide to their needs, that you can heal any diseases and remove any diseases and heal their bodies, that you can heal their hearts so they can serve you in any way that you have purpose in your heart for each one of them and each one of us. O Yahuwah Sebaot, we just want to be those children of yours, be witnesses in this time, those children that are going to bring your light into the dark places, those children that we are going to learn to do good and stop doing evil, those children that are going to act in the same way that you would do it, because we want to be like you, O Yahuwah Sebaot. We thank you, Abba, because you are the one doing everything for us, and because you are giving us this opportunity once again to be all together, to study your word, and to know you better. Thank you, Abba, for everything you do for us. And thank you, Abba, for being among us this day. We pray to you in this moment, in the mighty name of your Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's go here to... Sorry, I don't see. Now I see. So let's go to the book of Yeshayahu, Isaiah, chapter 1, verse 1. And you are going to be the one beginning?
As you wish.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. The vision of Yeshayahu, son of Amoz. You're going to provide the meaning of the names?
No, you have it.
Okay. Give me a second.
Okay.
Because I need a very big glass to. Okay. YaHuWaH is YaHuWaH has saved, or YaHuWaH saved. And he was the son of Amos. Amos means strong, which he saw concerning Yehuda, and we know that Yehuda is praised, and Jerusalem, teaching of peace.
Mm-hmm.
In the days of Uziyahu, Yotam, Ahaz, Hizkiyahu, sovereign of Yehuda. And the meaning of those kings is, my strength is Yah, Yah is perfect, ceased, and my strength is Yah.
Mm-hmm.
It has the same meaning, the first and the last one.
So let me make some comments here because I have some, I receive a download of things this morning. So we will try to compress all the information. So the first thing here, and actually, let's move a little bit more on the meaning of the name. And this is something I think is really important. Let me see if I can do it quickly enough. So so we just want to share with you. I know you know this information most probably, but the interesting comparison between the name of YaHuWaH and another important name. So this is Isaiah, and this is the way that is being written in Hebrew. Okay, and as Lillian said, the meaning is salvation of YaHuWaH. Okay, but we have another important name that is somehow using exactly the same letters, and that's the name of Yahushua, that was translated to Joshua or Jesus. Okay, our Messiah. And the meaning of his name is YaHuWaH saved, or YaHuWaH saves, or YaHuWaH delivers. But the interesting thing, if you compare the letters, they are exactly the same letters, with the exception of a yod in the name of YaHuWaH, the first yod, this one over here. But if you compare, exactly the same letter. So, and this is from the word Yasha, that means deliverance, salvation, and so on. And then we have the name of YaHuWaH, and it's exactly over here. So it's a kind of in the opposite direction. It's like YaHuWaH is first in the name of Yahushua, and in the name of YaHuWaH is at the end. But the meaning is the same, and actually, I think this is a beautiful picture in the way that I see it from my point of view, because both the message that the YaHuWaH, when we are going to read it in more details, is related to salvation. Even beginning from the first chapter onward, is talking about salvation, and later on, Yahushua appeared, bringing salvation. Is the fulfillment of salvation, not the full fulfillment, because that's coming later. You okay? Okay, don't fall down. But is the beginning of the fulfillment of the whole salvation. Okay, so it's good to see, the comparison between the Hebrew, that the names are mostly equal. Okay, so something addition that I want to mention.
Okay.
And if you want to jump in and tell something, go ahead. Just interrupt me. Is that the vision that YaHuWaH, son of Amos, got, was for concerning Yehuda and Jerusalem. So what is the meaning? What do you think? It doesn't say Israel. It means Yehuda and Jerusalem. Why is that?
I don't know, but when I was reading, I think that this was something specifically to be addressed to those kings. So maybe it's because they were going to be straight. So it was kind of an admonition, or I don't know if that is the right word, is a kind of a warning. So for me, it was like that, why he was addressing to them.
So there are a few things that we need to understand the context somehow, and we have been talking. I don't have it here. Yes. We have been discussing about
Kings. This one? Kings?
This one. Yes. So let me put it again in the screen. There we have. It's not this one. It's this one. Okay, so we have been discussing, my technical abilities today are not the best. So, is the context when YaHuWaH was living. And YaHuWaH, as you can see here, he was, and it is written from Azaryahu, that is called Uziyahu as well, is the same person. Yotam, Ahaz, and Hizkiyahu.
Yeah.
And, Hoshea was the last king of Israel. After that, Israel was completely removed. So it could be that some of the words he received because Israel, we don't know when he received this one. It was at the last period of his service or at the beginning of this period, because it's not written.
Yeah.
But maybe it could be because Israel was already removed that he received the words only for Yehuda and Jerusalem. That could be one reason. Now, I believe there's a different reason, okay, or a complementary reason for that. Let me just change here. And it's related to the importance of Yehuda and the importance of Jerusalem. Yehuda, from my point of view, is connecting to the importance of Mashiach. It was written and it was declared as part of the covenant between Yahuwah and David that he was not going to remove the lamb from Jerusalem. And let me go quickly to the book of, let me just share this one over here. Let me go quickly to the book of 2 Kings, chapter 8, verse 19. And here we have just an evidence of what I'm saying. So this was during the house of Ahab and so on. However, it says, Yahuwah would not destroy Yehuda for the sake of David his servant, as he promised him to give a lamb to him as his sons forever. So the message was directed to the house of Yehuda. Why? Because of the importance of Mashiach. It doesn't mean that it was only for Judah and not for the entire of Israel, for the two houses. It's because of the importance of Mashiach. They needed to keep their ways because Mashiach was going to come from that seed. Okay? And why directed to Jerusalem? I have been sharing for a long time that my understanding is that Jerusalem represents our mother. Okay? And somehow, being our mother represents also the unified kingdom. David took Jerusalem when he was anointed the king for entire Israel. After he was anointed for to be king for all the Israel, he went to the city of Jebus and he conquered the city, is Jerusalem. And he was the king over Jerusalem in Jerusalem for the entire house of Israel. So somehow it represents the unified kingdom. And actually there is a beautiful passage in the book of Psalms. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 132. And we can read from verse 13 to verse 18 that somehow is confirming what I'm trying to say. So it says, "For Yahuwah has chosen Zion. He has decided for his dwelling." And we know there is a connection between Zion and Jerusalem. This is something more profound that we need to study. But in this case, let's understand that the Jerusalem is part of it. So this is my place of rest forever. Here I dwell, for I have decided. I greatly bless her provision. I satisfy her poor with bread. And I put deliverance on her priests, and her lovingly committed ones sing for joy. There I make the horn of David grow. I shall set up a lamp for my anointed one. I put shame on his enemies, while on him his diadem shall shine. So in this passage, somehow it's connected to both things. Jerusalem is the place that he's going to rule. for the two houses, but also connected to David, that is representing the seed of the Mashiach, the anointed one, the lamp that Yahuwah said and promised that he was not going to remove from there. Okay, let's go back to Yeshayahu chapter 1. Let's move.
Okay, hear, O heavens, and listen, O earth, for Yahweh has spoken. I have reared and brought up children, but they have transgressed. Against me. An ox knows his owner, and a donkey its master's crib. Israel does not know. My people have not understood. Wow, the comparison, because he's saying that even the animals are even more intelligent than the real people, and you can see sometimes that we can have example of that, because the animal, when they receive food, is incredible how they know the owner, even when the owner is coming far away. They have the noise that the person is going to do, the steps and things like that, and they know, and they begin to run and jump like so happy because something is coming. It's the owner, and they recognize him.
You know what for me is interesting here is that could it be, and again with what I said before, is that though it's saying that the vision for Yehuda and Jerusalem somehow is representing the entire Israel because of Mashiach and the place of ruling the entire people of Israel, that when he's saying and comparing the people with two animals, that somehow one of them represent one house and the other one represent the other house.
Yeah, because the donkey is even more stubborn. So.
And actually, I remember a long time ago, I put some passages together connecting the Ephraim becoming a wild donkey. So it could be that, the donkey, I don't have the answer, just sharing what came to my heart. It could be that the donkey somehow, and he's using two animals to represent the two houses, the donkey, Ephraim, and maybe the ox, the house of Yehuda. That's something interesting that maybe we can take a look. And before I forget something interesting, is that let's keep in mind, considering the timeline of the two houses and the kings and Yeshayahu, is that Yeshayahu most probably saw with his own eyes.
Yeah, because it says he saw.
No, something different.
Okay.
The destruction of the house of Israel. Maybe he was alive because it happened during the kingdom of Hiskiyahu, Hezekiah, and he was part of Hezekiah kingdom. Remember that we put the tradition says that Menashe was the son of Hezekiah, Hiskiyahu, was the one killing Yeshayahu, Isaiah. So at that point, at that moment, the house of Israel, the northern kingdom, was already taken captive and dispersed by the king of Assyria. So he saw, just to put an additional context to the words he received and the visions he received, he lived the division between the two houses, and they were fighting between each other. But also he saw the punishment and the destruction of the northern kingdoms and the dispersion of the 10 tribes. So, when I see this thing, the words that he received for me takes even more relevance and more depth, because understanding that what happened and what was coming to the house of Yehuda in that context, receive the words of salvation that were coming for the entire Israel. It was a kind of injection of hope of what's coming and what Yahuwah was doing. Okay.
Yeah. Should I continue? Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I have another thing.
Yeah, sure, your thoughts.
For me, what it caught my attention. The first things that Yahweh instructed him to say is calling the two witnesses.
Yeah, heaven and earth.
The heavens and earth. Before he begins to speak about everything they were doing wrong or bad. And we know that this is written in the book of Devarim, and I want just to go quickly there because it's just to remember, he's calling out the two witnesses in order to speak against the people, because that's the purpose of a witness. So we see it in the book of Devarim, chapter 30, verse 15 to 20. And it says, "See, I have set before you today life and good, and death and evil. In that I am commanding you today to love Yahuwah your Elohim, to walk in his ways, and to guard his commands, and his laws, and his right rulings, and you shall live and increase, and Yahuwah your Elohim shall bless you in the land which you go to possess. But if your heart turns away, and you do not obey, and shall be drawn away, and shall bow down to other mighty ones, and serve them, I have declared to you today that you shall certainly perish. You shall not prolong your days in the land which you are passing over the Jordan to enter and possess. I have called the heavens and the earth as witnesses today against you. I have set before you life and death, the blessing and the curse. Therefore you shall choose life, so that you live, both you and your seed." And actually in the chapter 31, verse 26 and 28, he's repeating exactly the same. "Take this book of the Torah, and you shall place it beside the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah your Elohim, and it shall be there as a witness against you. For I myself know your rebellion and your stiff neck. See, while I am still alive with you today, you have been rebellious against Yahuwah. Then how much more after my death? Assemble unto me all the elders of your tribes and your officers, so that I speak these words in their hearing, and call the heavens and the earth to witness against them." I do believe this is something more profound. Could it be that the heavens and the earth are going to speak somehow?
Yeah, I think that somehow, because you can see that the heavens are over us, so they are kind of, if you think about perspective, they can see down, and the earth is the opposite. It's from the soil. They can be witness also, and everything is part of the creation. Everything is part of the same. Everything it has also, when we think about the water that is in the heaven, because we cannot see it, but it has little molecules of water and things like that. So that is something that is alive somehow. We think that it's not alive, but it's alive.
I think everything is related to what we were discussing about the word, because it says here, heavens and earth. It's talking about frequency, vibration. What we pronounce with our words activates something.
Yeah.
So, even in the book of Hanoch, it says that it is written in the tablets of the Shamayim. Something it is written over there. So somehow maybe the earth is recording. It's like a recording machine.
And it says that the stones are going to cry out.
Correct.
And I think that most of you have seen this kind of experiment and things that they have made with the water, and with that when they have water and you can speak over that glass or some, I think that it was also ice, and they become to form different kind of figures and crystals in kind of very beautiful shapes according to the word that they are hearing. If it's a bad word, it's kind of something very like a destruction or something like that. But when it's love, when it's peace, the shape that it has is really beautiful. So I think that everything is alive and everything is receiving something. And it's when you're receiving something, you're also giving out something. So, yeah, for me is that they're going to
maybe
provide.
We are going to hear the sound of the earth and the heavens speaking.
It's like the Truman Show. We have the cameras here and here. We are being watched.
Yeah, I like that analogy actually.
In all directions. Yeah,
it could be.
Yeah.
So let's move on.
Yeah. Allah, sinning nation, a people loaded with crookedness. A seed of evildoers, sons acting corruptly. They have forsaken Yahuwah. They have provoked the set-apart one of Israel. They went backward. Wow. They went backward is because at one time they were in a direction that is what the correct one, going to Yahuwah, but it means that, okay, we have turned and we are completely walking in a complete different direction.
So, I have a few notes here because first, how he continued in the first statement when he began to speak. After calling out the two witnesses, it says, I have reared and brought up children, but they have transgressed against me. So the first thing that he's confirming is that every time that we sin first against him. Committing sin, doing corruptly. We do it against Yahuwah first, and for sure, depending on the type of sin, we can go against the person. Okay? But the beautiful thing that he is saying in this first statement, that he's establishing a relationship. You remember that we have been talking in the last few weeks, especially when we were celebrating the leavened bread, about the relationship on the 7 promises. And here he is declaring that relationship. He's saying, I am a father.
Yeah.
And I have been taking care, I brought up children. So he's declaring the relationship between he as the father and then the sons, the children.
And when you think about that, he reared, I don't remember, is when you take care about somebody and you teach them a lot of the things that that person needs to learn in their process of growing up. So, so he gave everything, the good stuff, but even though he gave the good stuff, we have changed that, and we have transgressed, and we went in a complete different direction.
And now what he's saying here in the verse 4 is so important, because, you know, first he's saying, you know, you have transgressed against me in the verse 2. You know, sinning nation, people loaded with crookedness, so it's full of evil things inside, in their hearts, in their thoughts, and so on. Seed of evildoers. But you know, what he's saying here is so important. This one, sons acting corruptly. Acting. What it means, it conveys action.
Yeah.
That they were doing actions that related to sin. So it's not only the sin on thinking, it's doing. And this is something that, you know, for sure our actions will be moved through by our thoughts.
Yeah.
Everything that is wrong inside somehow will end in a wrong action. And I think it's working vice versa as well. Everything we do wrong in our actions, somehow it will contaminate the entire body.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it's so thinking on the relationship, father to a child to a father, he's saying they have forsaken me. They have forsaken Yahuwah. And, you know, basically forsaken is abandon. And there is another translation that it says provoke. You know, it says they have provoked the set apart of Israel. And provoke could be translated as despise or scorn. So I despise you. I don't want to be with you.
Imagine when your father was, he was teaching you something, and then you said, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm going to do the complete opposite because you, my father, just told me that. And sometimes we used to have that kind of attitude. And that's wrong, because the father is not going to want he's not going to decide that the children is going to experience bad things. He wants to protect him, even how much more our father.
So by selecting these specific words and understanding the context of our relationship, it's like he's saying that every time that we sin, we transgress, we are removing that bond of the relationship between him and us. Is that we are just cutting it. What the prodigal son did, he was with his father, and he started to go backwards, to do evil things. You know, it began in his heart in the battle. And that's why he decided to cut the relationship, not to be with the father anymore. And then, you know, because he has that desire in the heart, he forsake his father, and then he moved on, and he began to act corruptly until he woke up. So it's the process, you know. Every time that we sin, basically we are going against the relationship with Yahuwah. And you know, when I saw going backward, I remember 2 passages. Let's go to the book of Luke first, chapter 9. verse 57 to 62. So it says, and it came to be as they journeyed on the way that someone said to him, Master, this is speaking to Yahushua, I shall follow you wherever you go. And Yahushua said to him, the foxes have holes and the birds of the heaven nests, but the son of Adam has nowhere to lay his head. And he said to another, follow me. But he said, Master, let me first go and bury my father. And Yahushua said to him, let the dead bury their own dead, but you go and announce the reign of Elohim. And another also said, Master, I shall follow you, but let me first say goodbye to those in my house. But Yahushua said to him, no one, having put his hand to the plow and looking back, is fit for the reign of Elohim.
So if we take that decision,
If we make the decision, we just need to move forward, not to go back. And we have so many examples in the scripture about people looking back, especially the wife of Lot. And we know what was the consequences. And do you know the one that he was giving a perfect example of that was Peter. In the book of 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 20 and 22 to 22. It says, for if after they have escaped the defilements of the world through the knowledge of the Master and Savior Yahushua Messiah, they are again entangled in them and overcome, the latter end is worse for them than the first. For it would have been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness than having known it, to turn from the set-apart command delivered unto them. You know, and this is beautiful when we see that he's talking about the commandments, he's talking about the Torah, he's talking about the way
that we
live and reinforcing the message of Yahushua that we need to live in certain way in the commandment, because they turn from the set-apart commandment. They turn from the Torah. It's exactly the same thing that we see in this portion. Yeshayahu was speaking exactly the same to the people. Deliver unto them. From them the proverb has proved true.
for them.
For them, the proverb has proved true. A dog returns to his own vomit. It's a horrible picture.
Yeah, but it's real.
It's reflecting exactly the same thing. It's going backward. So it's to return to something that is wrong.
Yeah.
So the words of Yahuwah through Yeshayahu are so critical, and as you said at the beginning, are so applicable to all of us. They were applicable to that generation because, you know, they had very bad kings, some of them. And they were committing sin all over the place. The house of Israel was committing sin. The house of Yehuda was committing sin. But, you know, everything that he's saying is so applicable to us today.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same request. He's asking to all of us, stop doing evil, he said later on. So we can continue.
Why should you be stricken anymore? You continue in apostasy. All the head is sick, and all the heart faints. From the sole of the foot to the head, there is no soundness in it. Wounds and bruises are open sores. They have not been closed or bound up or soothed with ointment. Wow. Because it's showing that the whole body is sick. And usually when something is like showing the wounds outside, is because it has a long time in the inside. So it was like you are seeing that because a long time has happened that something is wrong inside. So that is, and there is nobody to soothe with ointment. So, and that is the promise that we have from Yahushua, that he is the one who is binding our wounds. He is healing.
It is written in the same book, actually.
In the same book, yeah.
You know, a few things here is that he doesn't want us to suffer.
Yeah.
That's why this is a kind of rhetorical question. Why you should be stricken anymore?
Yeah, it's because we are causing that.
Yes, we are causing. It's a result, the consequences of what we are doing. And actually, it is connected to what you are going to read in the verse 7, the consequence of that. So he's talking about apostasy, that I want to speak a little bit about that. But also, what he's saying, he's talking about three things. All the head is sick. So he's talking, head is the first one. All the heart faints. Heart is the second one. And then he's talking about the entire body.
Yeah.
So who is the head? The king. In the case of a people. And let's put ourselves in that time.
Okay.
The king was the head of the people. So is sick. They didn't have the proper king. The heart faints. Let's keep the heart at the end. I don't have the answer, but I will tell you what I think it is. And the body is totally, sick.
The whole country.
The whole
nation.
The whole nation, the people. And we have the perfect example in the kings. The kings of Israel all of them were evil. And some of the kings of Yehuda in the times of YaHuWaH, they were evil too. So everything was wrong. So the heart faints. What it means? That the heart is fainting. It is sick, or is fainting for something else? Could it be because it's fainting because it's suffering?
I think that is suffering.
So we have the king, we have the people. What role we are missing? In the role of the entire kingdom of YaHuWaH. The king, the people. Oh, you didn't pass the quiz. The priest.
Ooh.
The priest, the one in charge of the service of YaHuWaH. Could it be that the heart, that's what I believe, I can be wrong. Could it be that the heart here is representing the priest?
See, you're wrong.
Is representing the priest, that they were much closer to the service of YaHuWaH, and they were seeing all the evil things that they were doing. That doesn't mean that they were not wrong priests. For sure they were. We saw evil priests. But in the context of what is written over here, is the king, the priest, and the people. And the priest will faint. Is the heart that we need to give to YaHuWaH that's going to faint because of the evil things that we see around us. And it's exactly what's happening to us when we see sin, when we see mistake, when we see evil things going on. we feel it here. That something is not okay. We feel ourselves, touched. That and sometimes with the willingness to do something. Okay, about the apostasy, and this is really interesting. In the Greek version of the Tanakh, the Septuagint, the word that was used here in apostasy
Anomia?
is the word anomia.
Yeah.
Yes. Is the word anomia. It's without law, without Torah. And actually, if we look for apostasy in the Brit Hadashah, in the New Testament, we find this word in two places, and I want to share with you because somehow it's connecting the full understanding of what YaHuWaH is talking through YaHuWaH, and that is the same message that Yahushua brought, and it's the same message that is applicable to all of us. So the first place that we find this, the word apostasy, and we'll see it's exactly the same context or the same meaning, is in the book of 2 Thessalonians, chapter 2, and it is so important for the times that we are living. In the verse 3 it says, "Let no one deceive you in any way, because the falling away is to come first, and the man of lawlessness is to be revealed, the son of destruction." The word falling away is apostasy. Is the Greek word, and let me put it here. Maybe you're not going to be able to see it, but I will read it to you. Is the Greek word apostasia. Okay? And we see the same word, just to understand what falling away means. We see the same word in the book of Acts, chapter 21, verse 21. When Shaul went to Jerusalem, and they were telling him, the other apostles, saying, these people is talking this about you. So he said, but they have been informed about you that you teach all the Yahudim who are among the nations to forsake Moshe. And we know that Paul was not teaching that. If we go into the details of his writing, saying not to circumcise the children nor to walk according to the practices. So the word here forsake is from the same apostasia. And the interesting thing, when we look into the Greek word, this is coming from another one. And keep in mind the relationship that we were talking about. You know, the relationship between Yahuwah and his children. This is coming from the Greek word G647. Let me just look for it. G647. And the word is apostasion. And let me look. Let's see what was the translation. And it has been said, whoever puts away his wife, let him give her a certificate of divorce. The word certificate of divorce is the same word, apostasion. So basically what he's saying
separation.
That is separation.
Completely
is to remove the relationship. So when we fall away, when we are not following, when we're transgressing against Yahuwah, basically we are removing, separating, as I said, the relationship we have with him. And that's why, you know, we need to be so careful to examine our lives if we're committing any type of sin. And to, you know, to remove it immediately. It's exactly, you know, what is it saying later on. Let's move on.
Okay, yeah. So this one. Your land is laid waste. Your cities are burned with fire. Strangers devour your land in your presence, and it is laid waste as overthrown by strangers. Wow. When I was reading this, it was like the time that we are living now.
Yes, it was what happened that time.
Yeah, that time.
Because the house of Israel was being attacked and removed from the land. There were fights between the two houses. And it's exactly what's happening today.
Yeah. And the daughter of Zion is left as a booth in a vineyard, and as a hut in a garden of cucumbers, as a besieged city. So she's alone, destroyed, like, I don't know, desolated.
Absolutely.
Unless Yahuwah of hosts had left to us a small remnant, we would have become like Sodom. We would have been made like Amorah. Hear the word of Yahuwah, you rulers of Sodom. Give ear to the Torah of our Elohim, you people of Amorah. Wow. And when I read this, I don't know, I was thinking, because we know that Sodom and Amorah, they were destroyed. But even though they were destroyed, Yahuwah was speaking to them. So it means that even though it's a kind of a chance because they are hearing, maybe they are not there anymore, but still there are words coming to them.
Though I believe that he's comparing and he's calling his people Sodom, and they knew who Sodom was.
Yeah, so now he's talking to this possible new Sodom and this possible new Amorah.
And then what's the situation today?
And
you know, in the world, is Sodom and Amorah? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's exactly what's saying.
Yeah.
And you know, the interesting thing is that it's two cities, two houses.
And the meaning of the names are the complete opposite, because Sodom means fired. And Amorah means immersion, so water. So, I don't know. I don't know. Of what use to me are your many slaughterings, declares Yahuwah. I have had enough of ascending.
Where are you reading?
This one?
No, I think you here.
No.
And this one you read?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Of what use to me are your many slaughterings, declares Yahuwah. I have had enough of ascending offerings of rams and the fat of pet beasts. I do not delight in the blood of bulls or of lambs or goats.
You know, just one thing before we continue is about verse 10. You know, is the Shema Israel. You know, is hear the word of Yahuwah, the importance of the word, the importance of hearing. You know, he's saying and reinforcing the concept, give ear to the Torah of our Elohim. So
maybe I didn't read.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So the importance of the word. Who's the word? It's Yahushua. Is the
Yahushua.
word made flesh. And you know, there is a more profound understanding and teaching we have been, Lillian and I, we have been talking about this, about what the word means, what are the applications or the manifestation of the word, and in different ways, you know. And when we use the word, somehow he's revealing himself through the different aspects of the word. So that's why the importance of, you know, understanding and connecting that the word is Yahushua. And by using the word, or hearing the word and giving ear to the word in the different aspects of the word being manifested, you know, we are going to be following the Torah. We are going to restore that relationship with him.
When you were talking about that, then I remember that usually is that the leaders or the people who are in charge of a country of a big amount of people, if they are not the one hearing what they are going to do, that they are going to stop repeating this. So they are not going to share anymore the values, the Torah, the way that Yahuwah wants us to live. So what could happen? I remember time ago when I was in a work, it was a kind of a generation that was kind of so lost. They were so lost because I remember this young boy, he was going to the office and he was like saying, you know, people are so stupid, the people who pay the bus and that kind of transportation and things like that. And why I'm going to pay if I can take it, if I can just avoid it? Or, you know, that store has things over the counter, so I'm going to pick one. So for them, nobody was telling them, you know, you cannot do that. And I remember the conversation that we had, and that I was explaining, when you are not paying something that you should pay, you are stealing. You are stealing something that somebody has to pay for that. And you are making some people to lose what they have to put all their effort. So if you are telling me that you don't even think about them, something, maybe you are doing that because nobody told you, and that was the case. He didn't have a mother, he didn't have a father, and he lost the grandmother who was raising up. He has very bad companion. And imagine what is happening in a complete country when then the leaders are approving things that are not okay, that are not right. Then the generation that is going to be raised in that situation, for them is going to be something that is okay. Because for them, okay, so we don't have to be even worried about this because it's already approved. We have laws that are backing these things up. So for them, the transgression is even farther. I don't know, we are even more lost when that kind of things happen. So
because they're losing,
and because they are not hearing, and because the first person who stopped hearing the word was the person who was in charge.
Yeah.
So okay.
Good.
And well, about this, of what use to me are your many slaughtering? Then you were the other day you were asking me, and for me is when the slaughter or the offerings, the purpose that it has is when you are repented, when you know that what you did, it was something wrong. So with that action, you are saying, I'm sorry about that, I'm not going to do it anymore. So I think that when Yahuwah is saying, I don't want this anymore, is because he don't want us to transform a process that are going to be repeated and repeated again over time, because it means that we haven't learned anything. So we are continuing that process, that we just feel bad, okay, but I have this, so I can repent, so I'm going to continue. And sometimes that is something very dangerous. When we hear in some places when they said, no, our Elohim love us no matter what we are doing. It's not that. No matter what we have done, he can forgive us but he requests from us a complete different life from that moment. So when we discover that we have made something that is wrong, we need to abandon that and then continue and complete change our life. So that was at least the meaning for me. Because there is always a kind of people who says, well, Yahuwah never requests any kind of sacrifice. Yeah, over the time. In a continual kind of, okay, I'm repented and then I'm going to do it again. Yeah. And
The first 11.
okay. Of what use to me are yours many slaughterings, declares Yahuwah. I have had enough of ascending offerings of rams and the fat of fat beasts. I do not delight in the blood of bulls or of lambs of goats. When you come to appear before me, who has required this from your hand, to trample my courtiers? Stop bringing futile offerings, incense. It is an abomination to me. New months, Shabbats, the calling of gatherings. I am unable to bear unrighteousness and assembly. So
I think what Yahuwah is talking here is that, and it's something that we already know. He hates somehow mixed worship, and this is exactly what he is saying here. He first said, you are evildoers, you are a sinning people. I instructed you in all the ways and you are acting corruptly. You have been doing all of this, and that's why you have the consequences of this. You have been broken the relationship with me. You have decided to break the relationship with me, with apostasy. So, and they were serving anyway. The temple was still there. There were priests, they were serving, there was an altar, they were
the feast.
They were celebrating feast, most probably. Some of them, they were bringing offerings, slaughtering into the altar. The priests were serving, most probably, in part of the service. Not everything, because we remember that even some of the kings they discovered the book of the Torah was lost.
Yeah, they were really amazed.
But the temple was there. The Ark of the Covenant was there. The menorah was there. Everything that Yahuwah showed to Moshe in Sinai, somehow was there. So what he's saying, you are mixing things. And we read everything, in the book of Kings, how they were even setting some altars. I don't remember who was the king that was doing that. That he said, "Oh, this is the altar of Damasek. I'm going to replace the slaughter place from Yahuwah to the north side." They were bringing worship of Baal into the temple, and the worst one was Menashe. So they were mixing things, and that's why he's saying, "Stop bringing futile offerings, incense. It is an abomination to me." New months, Shabbatot, the calling of gatherings, and this is the phrase that is connecting it all. I am unable to bear unrighteousness and assembly. You are gathering yourselves, but you are full of unrighteousness. How I'm going to bear this situation? And it's important to see it in this way because of what is written later on. He's saying in the verse 12, some people understand that, who has required this from your hand to trample my courtyards? Some people understand that this is about the offerings. I don't think so. He's talking about appearing before him. He's saying, when you come to appear before me, who has required this from you?
But you're acting
I'm not requiring you that I'm committing sin, I'm doing corruptly to come to me. I don't want it. I think this is what he's referring to. So, mixing things. We have the example in the book of Revelation to the assembly in Laodicea. You are not hot, not cold, because you are lukewarm. I'm going to vomit you out of my mouth. Is to have one feet here, the other feet over here, mixing things.
Yeah, he preferred someone to be cold or hot, but not in the middle, no double standard.
Exactly. We have other example, in the commandments in Torah, when he's saying that he forbids to sow the land with different type of kind of seeds, because again we are mixing.
Yeah.
And this is a specific, passage. Let's go there in the book of Devarim, chapter 12, verse 29, 12, verse 29 to 31. It says, when Yahuwah your Elohim does cut off from before you the nations which you go to dispossess, and you dispossess them and dwell in their land, guard yourself that you are not snared to follow them after they are destroyed from before you, and that you do not inquire about their mighty ones, saying, how did this nation serve their mighty ones? And let me do so too. Do not do so to Yahuwah your Elohim, for every abomination which Yahuwah hates they have done to their mighty ones. For they even burn their sons and daughters in the fire to their mighty ones. So basically, he's forbidden to mix. And how we can apply this to our lives today? We have to identify what are the idols that maybe we are still keeping in a corner, very hidden. That sometimes we put them long time ago and we totally forgot, but they are still there. We need to ask Yahuwah to open our eyes to discover those idols and to remove them completely from our lives, because everything that he's speaking is speaking, as you said previously, individually, as a body, as the world. It's exactly as the temple, the courtyard, the set apart place, the most set apart place. So we need to put in practice in our lives, we need to look if there's some idols within us that needs to be completely removed. Okay?
Adon, my being hates your new month and your appointed times. They are a trouble to me. I am weary of bearing them. And when you spread out your hands, I hide my eyes from you. Even though you make many prayers, I do not hear. Your hands have become filled with blood.
So one question. Why Yahuwah is saying my being hates your new months or your Chodeshim and your appointed times, your Moedim? They are a trouble to me. I am weary to bear in them. I hate those things.
How come? Because I think that we are doing them maybe, but not with the living the life how he is expecting us to live. Maybe something is missing.
He's saying, I agree with you. He said, my being hates your. And what, we go to the book of Leviticus, Vayikra, in the verse 2, it says, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, the appointed times of Yahuwah, which are to proclaim and set apart gatherings, my appointed times, my Moedim.
Because
he's making a difference between his Moedims and the Moedim of the people. So how we can understand that?
Because
in two ways.
In two ways. One, it could be that we are doing things different as he was expecting them.
Maybe a different calendar, maybe a different type, different days or type. Or maybe we are mixing.
And maybe we are putting some tradition that should not be there.
Correct. Or maybe we are keeping other holidays.
Or keeping other holidays.
Pagan holidays. You know what the house of Israel and Jeroboam did? He created his own holidays. So,
and there is a list of every day is a new.
It could be mixed worship. That's why he's saying, I cannot bear unrighteousness and assembly. They were mixing worship. Or they were doing it different days, or they were celebrating pagan holidays.
Different things.
So again, this speaks to us. We need to understand if we are doing something that is following traditions, that we should remove it immediately.
Should I continue?
Yes, about the prayer might be hindered because of sin. You go up a little bit there.
Okay.
And when you spread out your hands, I hide my eyes from you. Even though you make many prayers, I do not hear. Your hands have become filled with blood. So if we're committing sin, he's not going to answer our prayers. We can do everything that is written over there. We can, spread our hands to him, asking for help, praying to him, but he's not going to hear us.
And Yahushua was saying that we are not only murderers when we are killing somebody physically, that also when getting angry with somebody, when we are having a fight. Also, that is kind of a killing and I don't know, having some blood in some cases, because we are causing some harm to the other people. So Yahushua was telling us, when you have an issue, please, before coming to the altar, leave your offering there, make peace with your brother, or settle the things in the correct
That's a good example, yeah.
way, and then come to me. And I think that sometimes also this maybe could be the things that Yahuwah hates, that we are having some issues with
Yes.
our family, with our brother.
We're not solving it.
We haven't solving it. We think, okay, I'm going to do it later. And then we are trying to think that we are acting in the right way. He prefers that we solve that first, and then we approach to him.
So here we have a confirmation. This is in the chapter 15, verse 29 of the book of Proverbs, Mishle. It says, Yahuwah is far from the wrong ones, but he hears the prayer of the righteous. So we can be wrong, evildoers, or we can be righteous. He's going to hear our prayers if we are righteous. If we're wrong, he's going to be far from us. And it's being repeated in the chapter 28, verse 9 of the same passage. He who turns away his ear from hearing the Torah, even his prayer is an abomination, because we are not giving ear to the Torah of Yahuwah. And it's so beautiful mentioned by the blind man that was healed by Yahushua. You know, when they were, the Pharisees were saying, we know that Elohim has spoken to Moshe, but this one, referring to Yahushua, we do not know where he is from. The man that was previously blind answered and said to them, why, this is a wonder. You do not know where he is from, yet he opened my eyes. And we know, that's beautiful, because it was the Ruach revealing all of this and putting the words in his mouth. And we know that Elohim does not hear sinners. But if anyone fears Elohim and does his desire, he hears him. So, confirmation that, maybe we are not receiving answers. And I'm going to put a disclaimer after this statement. Maybe we are not receiving answers to our prayers. It could be one of the reasons is maybe we are doing something wrong.
And we don't know.
And we don't know. And we need to pray to have wisdom and to see it. But that's not, and the disclaimer is that that's not the only reason that maybe we are not receiving answer. Daniel didn't receive an answer for many weeks or many days, because there was a spiritual battle that Gabriel was unable to come fast to him. So maybe we're not receiving an answer because something is happening in the spiritual realm. It's not because we are doing something wrong. So second reason is that one. And the third reason is Job. He was being tested. He was going through a trial period. He didn't commit any sin.
And sometimes we don't receive an answer because maybe the answer is that we are not going to get it.
Yes.
Maybe the answer is already there.
Correct.
It's no. So sometimes we don't like it, but it's Yahuwah who knows better.
So the same thing that, when we were speaking in the first chapter, in the previous verses, about the head being sick, the heart fainting, and the entire body being sick, that could happen also to us. When we look individually, if our head is sick, basically everything that commands the body, the heart will faint, and we know that thoughts are coming from the heart, so everything is connected. And remember the three brains that we studied a long time ago. We can become sick. But again, with a big disclaimer, and we have been talking about this, when we are sick, it's not only because we are committing sin. It's the same thing with the prayers. It could be because we are doing something that is wrong to the eyes of Yahuwah, and we need to ask for wisdom. It could be because we are being tested in trials. Or it could be because he wants, in case of sickness, he wants to show his wonders and his power.
And sometimes he wants us to have him even more closer to him, closer to him, no more closer to him, because sometimes we are know the good. We act in the opposite way that we should. Sometimes we get closer to him when we are in difficult times and not in the good times. So we tend to forget him.
Yeah.
So I think that's when he needs us to be closer, he is going to give us very hard times. So, yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
Wash yourself, make yourself clean, put away the evil of your doings from before my eyes. Stop doing evil. Learn to do good. Seek right ruling. Reprove the oppressor. Defend the fatherless. Plead for the widow. And we not only have fatherless and widow in the physical and the real everyday, also people who maybe they didn't have the knowledge of our Father, and they are fatherless, and maybe women that their husband were not somebody who believes in Yahuwah. So the person who is at that moment the one that is next to them is like he is not existing somehow, even though he's present in a physical way, but maybe he needs somebody, a husband that believes. So it's that connection. Come on, let us reason together, says Yahuwah. So he's always open to talk. Though your sins are like scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they are red like crimson, they shall be as wool. Wow. So that's very big promise. If you submit and obey, you shall eat the good of the land. But if you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured by the sword, for the mouth of Yahuwah had spoken.
So, it's interesting that in this portion, is dividing the portion in two parts. Everything that has been speaking so far is related to the people. Now, from 21 onward, it's talking to Jerusalem.
And to each person individually.
Yeah,
Come on, let us reason together.
no, for sure, it's individual. But think on what is said at the beginning, to Yehuda and Jerusalem. So first to the people, and for sure, it's for the entire body and also individual, as you said. But from the 21 onward, is the words are directed to Jerusalem. And that's beautiful, in the same portion is speaking to the people and also to Jerusalem. Now, the reference here is directly to baptism. Wash yourselves, make yourself clean. And let me show you a few passages. Let's go to the book of Luke, because when we talk about being washed, being ourselves clean, and it's talking about water. Okay, so the first one, water, is baptism in water. And let's go to Luke chapter 3, verse 1 to 3. It says, "And in the 15th year of the reign of Tiberius Caesar, when Pontius Pilate was governor of Yehuda, and Herod, district ruler of Galilee, and his brother Philip, district ruler of Jetur, and the country of the Trachonites, and Lucenes, district ruler of Abilene, Hanan and Caiaphas being high priests, the word of Elohim came to Yohanan, or Yahuhanan, the son of Zechariah, in the wilderness. And he went into the neighborhood of the Jordan, proclaiming, he was proclaiming an immersion of repentance for what?
Forgiveness of sin.
The forgiveness of sin. And we know that the immersion that he was doing was immersion in water.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of the immersion of water? Is for the forgiveness of sin and to become clean. It's exactly what Israel was experiencing when they were crossing the Red Sea. And that's why Yahushua, his disciples, and even Yahushua himself was practicing the immersion on water, because it's part of practicing righteousness. And, I'm not going to ask the question I was thinking to ask, but it's better not. But I will invite you or reinforce the idea, if you have not been immersed in water, do it. I know that it's better for us to be with more people that is going to support us in the process, but if you don't have anybody around you, Go and do it yourself.
Before Yahuwah is going to be there.
Is the most important. You know, you have the witness of the heaven and the earth. And the baptism in water, immersion in water, is so important because it's one of the first steps to move on in the right way. And it's exactly what the words of Yeshayahu is saying. Wash, and Yahuwah is saying through Yeshayahu, wash yourself. We need to wash ourselves first through the water. So, you know, they were confessing their sins. You can go, you know, to a river, you go to a lake, go to the sea, and confess your sin to your Father. If there's somebody, a brother or a sister that can assist you, even better. If not, immerse yourself in the water, first confessing your sin, declaring to Yahuwah that you want to be washed and clean. And do it. Because, you know, forgiveness and total forgiveness of sin require the immersion in water in order to become as a wool, in order to become as snow, because we know, you know, the second part is through the forgiveness and the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach and his offering. But it's not only the water on of the immersion, you know. There's a second part that is so beautiful, because we know that the Ruach HaKodesh is also being represented by water to clean. And what Yahushua said in the book of John, what is one of the works of the Ruach of Elohim, in the chapter 16, verse 7 to 8, it says, when he was talking about the helper, but I say the truth to you, it is better for you that I go away, for if I do not go away, the helper shall not come to you at all, but if I go, I shall send him to you. And having come, he shall convict the world concerning sin, and concerning righteousness, and concerning judgment. So, one of the works of the Ruach of Elohim is that he needs to help us to discover any type of sin, to convict us of the sin. We can speak to somebody, you know, you are committing sin, you are doing something wrong.
But if I don't believe that...
If you don't believe, is the Ruach inside that person that he's going to convict that person that what he's doing is wrong. Is the Ruach of Elohim the one who can open our eyes in order to see that there is that hidden idol that we have been keeping without knowing from long time ago is still there, and we need to remove it. So that's why we need to ask Abba to help us to see through his Ruach anything that needs to be washed and clean in our lives. So, water immersion and the works of the Ruach of Elohim. Let me go back. Isaiah chapter 1. Okay. Something else? Yes, something else here. So, stop doing evil, the evil of your doings. So, the actions again, we need to stop. Yahushua said, cut it off, the hand. Take your eye out. We need to stop doing what's basically moving us to commit and transgress against him. And he's saying, learn to do good. So again, to do is the emphasis on doing, not just thinking, in doing. And the emphasis is Yahuwah speaking through Yeshayahu. The emphasis.
So we're always all the time doing something. We have to stop doing the bad stuff and replacing that by the good stuff.
Absolutely. And you know, he's given some, and I found so interesting this one, because when he's saying that learn to do good, he's giving few examples. Seek right ruling. What Yahushua said. Seek first the kingdom of heaven and the righteousness of the kingdom. He's saying exactly the same. Seek righteousness, right rulings. He's saying reprove the oppressor. Sometimes, you know, we are waiting for somebody else to speak up when we see something that is wrong. And he's saying here, pardon destruction, reprove the oppressor. Speak up. The example that you were giving with this young man. to reprove the pressure. And we need to ask the Ruach to use us to put the right words in order to be an instrument for the person to be touched. Defend the fatherless. So those are actions. Plead for the widow. So if we just think on the Torah of Yahuwah, but we don't do, even the inaction is not written. It's going to be my words and my understanding. Even the inaction is becoming cold. Is mixing. I believe, but I don't do. I'm mixing my service to Yahuwah. Is he going to be happy with that? For all the kings, it says, and that's why we put the colors in the chart, he did evil in the eyes of Yahuwah. He did what was right in the eyes of Yahuwah. He did actions. That's the most important thing, because with the actions we complete our thoughts, we reveal what is inside. And this is exactly what Yahuwah is looking for. It's not only, what we are thinking, what is inside, is what we are doing with our entire being. Okay? And obedience, he's reinforcing. Submit, what Yahushua said. Deny yourself. That's submit, is surrender.
Yeah.
We need to surrender ourselves and obey. Understanding that by doing that, we are going to receive blessing. It's exactly as Moshe, when we were reading at the beginning of the study, were saying when he was calling out the two witnesses. Life and death. Life if we obey, death if we disobey. He's not changing. It's exactly the same message. Go ahead.
How the steadfast city has become a whore. I have filled it with red ruling. Righteousness loaded in it. But now, murderers.
And just a heads up here, the only fact that he's saying and putting a title in Jerusalem of a whore, this is a prophetic thing. The whore of Babylon, just think about that. Go ahead.
Your silver has become dross, your wine is mixed with water. Your rulers are stubborn and companions thieves. Everyone loves bribes and runs after rewards. They do not defend the fatherless, nor does the cause of the widow reach them. Therefore, the Master declares, Yahuwah of hosts, the mighty one of Israel, I shall be ease of my adversaries, and I shall be avenged of my enemies.
And let me make a comment here, because when I read this, it's so important. Who are the adversaries and the enemies that he's talking about?
All the ones that are sin, because
Exactly.
sin is against Yahuwah.
That's the point. So we can be with Yahuwah or we can be against Yahuwah.
There is no.
If we are against Yahuwah, we are not more. We are his children anyways, but we become an adversary. We become an enemy to Yahuwah. So there is two options. So it's important because to understand it in that way. Do we want to be friends as Abraham, or we want to be enemies of him?
Imagine if from the beginning it has established that sin is going to be removed from the earth.
Yeah.
How he's suffering because we are still some days in the maybe sinning somehow, because that means that he has to take care of us also and to eliminate us with the part of the sin that he is going to destroy, and he doesn't want to do that. He wants us to be in the bright side so he can completely keep us safe and alive forever. Not to be just putting us in danger and from one place to the other one, because that's not the idea. And I shall turn my hand against you, and I shall refine your dross as with lye, and I shall remove all your alloy, and I shall give back your judges as at the first, and your counselors as at the beginning. After this you shall be called the city of righteousness, a steadfast city. Sion shall be ransomed with right ruling, and her returning ones with righteousness. So it doesn't matter how far they were, everybody can return.
Yeah.
So we all have to be in that returning path.
It's beautiful because if we think in the history, Jerusalem was destroyed. After the times and the days of Yeshayahu. So it's exactly what he's saying. I shall turn my hand against you and shall refine your dross. So when he's speaking about Jerusalem, he's speaking for his time, everything that he's speaking here, or he's speaking for later on. Now that we are, so many years later, thousands of years later, we can understand that there was a process of cleansing, refining. But that refinement has not been completed yet.
No.
Because it says, I shall give back your judges at first and your counselors as at the beginning. After this, you shall be called the city of righteousness, a steadfast city. Is the situation today? Has been the situation in the past?
No,
not at all.
That is still in the future.
It's in the future. Sion shall be ransomed with right ruling. With right ruling ransom. Who ransomed Sion? Yahushua. So through the righteousness on the offering of Yahushua is that Sion is going to be ransomed. So it's going to be called the city of righteousness when Yahushua is coming back in order to establish the kingdom here on earth. With he as the righteous ruler. So, this is the process for Jerusalem. But as you said, that's why it's so beautiful connected to the people of Yehuda. It's asking exactly the same. Why? Because, this place have life only because we are here. If not, it's without life. So, if we're righteous, this place, this house, could be called righteous place. If we are evildoers, this place will be known as a place of evildoers or evil thing. The same thing with the Jerusalem. That's why the first treatment is with the people individually. We need to become righteous as an individual. Then, if everybody as a group, as an assembly, is righteous, the place, Jerusalem, it will be filled with righteous people. Immediately it will become righteous. And that's why her returning ones with righteousness. All of those that are going to fill Jerusalem in order to become the city of righteousness, a steadfast city, are going to be righteous one only.
And I think about all the process, because it says refinement and remove the alloy, and all that process in itself is something very, I don't know how to say, harsh. And all the elements that are involved, they are put in the very, if it's with heat, with high temperature, is going to be extreme.
Yeah.
If it's with something that you need to scrub, is something that is going to hurt. So that process are not easy. And what is always going to happen is that the element that you are trying to clean or to purify is going to be changed. It cannot be in the same way that it was before. It needs to be transformed. It needs to be changed into something different.
You remember?
A different state.
I think it was last week we mentioned about the two type of fires. A fire that is consuming,
and a fire,
and the fire that is not consuming, that somehow is embracing somehow.
And it's warm, yeah.
So it's interesting because with the example you gave, the first fire is to change, to refine, for refinement. The second fire is for consuming, and actually it's exactly what you are going to read now. Because now it's talking about being consumed with fire. We want to be with the first fire, the one that is refining, not the one that is consuming, right?
Yeah. And the destruction of transgressors and of sinners is together, and those who forsake YaHuWaH shall be consumed, for they shall be ashamed of the terebinth trees which you have desired. and you shall be embarrassed because of the gardens which you have chosen. For you shall be as a terebinth whose leaf fades, and as the garden that has no water. And water, we know that it represents the living waters of Yahushua. So if we don't have that, we are going to be really dry and
Absolutely.
is going to die. The strong shall be for tow, and his work for a spark, and both shall burn together, with no one to extinguish.
So again, be born together, and we know that this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And the last days is going to be as part of the final judgment.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a long chapter 1.
Yeah.
We are just missing chapter 2.
Yeah.
It's 22 verses. Are you okay? We continue. Just put the comment in the chat. I think it will take it 40 minutes more.
Well, we can do it faster.
We can do it faster. I don't have notes, so we're
Okay,
going just
Okay.
to allow what is coming
Okay.
to the heart. So if you're okay, we continue with 40 minutes. Yes. Okay, standing and waiting is saying yes. Yes, Yarash. Okay. Continue, please.
Okay.
Okay, we have 3 witnesses.
Okay.
Perfect. So it says in the chapter 2, verse 1, the word that Yeshayahu, the son of Amoz, saw concerning Yehuda and Jerusalem. And it shall be in the latter days that the mountain of the house of Yahuwah is established on top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow to it. What's a beautiful picture and passage. And I was telling Lillian the other day that we need to understand that some words or some prophecies have the first application during the time of where the Yeshayahu was living, maybe for that the specific generation or for the next generation. But we also see places here in the book, like this portion, this chapter, that is being very specific about the timing, because he's saying it shall be in the latter days. In the latter days is talking about the timeline of the plan of Yahuwah. And we know by connecting this with the book of Revelation, Hason, we can see when this is going to happen. Okay? So, and just an additional disclaimer, as Camila was saying at the very beginning, and we were reinforcing the concept, is that even though that Yeshayahu was presenting words to the generation of old, they are totally applicable, as we were going in depth in the chapter 1 to us in these days. So in the latter days, is going to be the house and the mountain of Yahuwah, the most important one in the earth, right?
I imagine the time of the millennium.
Millennium.
Yeah. When Yahushua is here, finally here, living
And,
among us.
and it's connected how it's going to happen, you know, what is coming to the earth, and it's so connected to what is written in the book of Revelation. We somehow understand that it's going to be a change in the geography of the earth because of the big earthquake that is being described here as well. So the mountains will melt.
Yeah.
And why they are going to melt? Because of the presence and the power of Yahuwah that is coming when Yahushua is coming on the cloud back. And somehow it's connected to what is written in the next passages. But the good thing is, you know, and the beautiful thing is that after he was speaking about all the evil things that the people were doing, you know, he's just giving us a glimpse of what's happening at the end. That even though that they were doing so much evil, the head, the heart, the body, speaking about Israel, now he's allowing us to see through the words of the same prophet what is the end, how it's going to end, how it's going to be, how it's going to conclude. And you know, the end is good. The end is that he is going to clean everything, that he's going to reign, that righteousness is going to be on the earth, that actually is going to be so strong that the people, the nations will flow to it. And many people, it says the 3, shall come and say, come, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahuwah, to the house of the Elohim of Yaakov. We need to have strong legs, and all the people to climb the mountain and go up. And let him teach us his ways, and let us walk in his paths. For out of Zion comes forth the Torah, and the word of Yahuwah from Jerusalem. I think all of us would want to live on those times, right? But somehow we are living in those times. I know that we are not in the millennial kingdom yet, but
we have some of those moments.
He's teaching us His ways. We can walk in His path. The Torah is coming forth. The word of Yahuwah is with us. So yes, it's going to be a fantastic and a beautiful time.
Yeah.
Is what we're expecting, is our hope. But we can do it now. We can live in this way. Though we are crossing a valley of shadow and death, within us, we have the Ruach of Elohim, that He's allowing and empowering us in order to live in this way, because we are children of the kingdom. If we're following the path and we are submitting and obeying. And He shall judge between the nations, and shall reprove many peoples, and they shall beat their swords. And actually, before I continue, we need to understand that somehow, and we will see this most of the time, since the prophecies are timeless, sometimes they are not in a chronological order. And this is really important. We were studying the other day the prophecies of the book of Ezekiel about Gog and Magog. And we were reading it again, and in case you want to read it, you need to read chapter 38 and 39 together. And they are not in a chronological order. And we were doing it because everybody's talking about the situation in Israel and Iran,
When it's going to be Gog and Magog.
that everybody's expecting the Gog and Magog. And I'm scratching my head and saying, how come? It is so clearly written in the book of Revelation that the word of Gog and Magog is going to happen after the 1,000 years reign of Yahushua here on earth. Not before. So why they are talking about that? Okay, if you go to read those chapter 38 and 39 of the book of Ezekiel, and you read it in context, you will understand that they are not written in a chronological order.
They go from here to there, and then they go back.
And it's talking, different fulfillments of what is written there in different timings. Well, what I'm saying is, we see the same here. It's talking about the mountain to be at the top of the top. But also here we see judgment. When judgment will happen? After the 1,000 years of the kingdom here on earth. He shall judge between the nations, and shall reprove many peoples, and they shall beat their sword into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither teach battle anymore. For sure this is going to happen during Yahushua establishing righteousness on earth. Satan is going to be bound with chains. The anti-Mashiach, or the two beasts, are going to be thrown into the lake of fire. So finally, we are going to have peace. No more war. Shalom. So this could be, is going to be fulfilled during the time. And I do believe, all of us are waiting for this type of things. We see violence going up like crazy everywhere. And we want so much to live in peace. But we know that we need to go through the storm, because peace and shalom will come by the hand of Yahushua. O house of Yaakov, come and let us walk in the light of Yahuwah. The invitation is always to walk
in His light.
And who is the light? Is Yahushua. And we are the light if we walk with Him. So this walk is, I was praying this morning, and I have not shared with Lillian yet. But one of the things that came to during my prayer is that we are in a journey. We are in a journey, and that's why, He's always using walking. And the journey begin when we are born, and it finished when we see with the natural eyes when we die. And the point is that we are always moving in movement, and it's going forward. What I mean is that we're growing. We cannot move out of the path we are living from this journey. That's why we cannot, in that case, we cannot go back. It's moving. We are going ahead. We cannot stop it. So that's why we can decide how to walk. We are always moving. In this case, okay, we are going to decide to walk or move in this journey of the life, in light or darkness, in the narrow path or the wide and open one. And actually so easy. Show you. I cannot show you, but I will show her. You know, the narrow path could be over here. You know, it could be much higher. The two paths are so close between each other. So the narrow path is more higher than the broad path. So it means that, and there is a fence with spines or things like that that are forbidding the people to cross from one place to the other. But if the narrow path is over here, we can easily jump and go to the broad and open way.
Yeah, and the other way is more.
But going to the other way back is more difficult. We need help. So that's why, you know, we need to walk. We need to walk looking up front to the north, looking to the light that is Yahushua, in order not to look into the path that is just beside and to be tempted to jump and to walk there because we have more space.
And if we are,
because later on, if we want to go back,
we cannot do it again.
It's going to be much more difficult. Okay? So, for you have forsaken your people, the house of Jacob, because they have been filled from the east and practice magic like the Philistines, and they are pleased with the children of foreigners. You know,
everything is mixing there.
That's why he, you know, we just read in the chapter 1. The people forsook him, and he forsook the people. He then cut the bond, the relationship. It was the people cutting the relationship. And he also cut it because he was scorned. And how they cut it and why he forsake the people, because they were filled from the east. And this is interesting, you know, I was telling you the other day, why he's referring from the east, because Babylon was at the east of Israel. Aram, Assyria, Ammon, they were at the east of Israel. So they were being contaminated and filled with all those practices. You know, I was telling Lilian, what would Yahuwah would say today when he's referring to the people that they're doing wrong things? He would say, you know, in my opinion, because you are being filled from the east and from the west. West mentality or West wrong practices that we see all over the place in our age. And also from the east. False religions, false teachings, wrong practices, holidays, whatever you want to call it. So what he's asking in this time is that we need to remove everything that is coming, and we are being filled as individually, because it begins with the individual, with the person. Remove everything that we have been filling this house with, that is coming from the east or from the west. We need to fill it with what is coming from above. We need to fill this house with what is coming from the Shemayim, from the heaven. And we know what's coming from the heaven, right? What's coming from the heaven? The manna. The manna is coming from the heaven. And he is the manna from heaven, Yahushua himself. And their land is filled with silver and gold, and there is no end to their treasures. And their land is filled with horses, and there is no end to their chariots. And their land is filled with idols. They bow themselves to the work of their own hands, to what their own fingers have made. So, you know what is interesting? You know, he's saying they're filled with material things.
Yeah.
They're rich.
Only material things. And I was thinking about the horses, now the cars. You can see streets and they're crowded with cars and things like that.
So let me read it again, because this is exactly what is written in the book of Revelation, chapter 5 to the assembly of Laodicea. It says, I know your works, again, actions, that you are neither cold nor hot. I would that you were cold or hot. So because you are lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I am going to vomit you out of my mouth. Because you say, rich I am, and I am made rich, and need none at all, and do not know that you are wretched and pitiable and poor and blind and naked. So it's the same thing. We can be filled with everything that is coming from the west or from the east, and we are unable to recognize our real situation, what is here, what Yahushua was saying to the Pharisees. You know, you are watching and cleaning the outside, when in the inside is totally rotten. We need to look and watch the inside, remove everything that is coming from the world, because we are not of the world. We belongs to Jerusalem from above. And the lowly bows down, and the high is humbled. Therefore you do not forgive them. Enter into the rock and hide in the dust, because of the fear of Yahuwah and the splendor of his excellency. The lofty looks of men shall be humbled. The pride of men shall be bowed down. And Yahuwah alone shall be exalted in that day. The ego is so critical. And actually, again, we need to begin with us first. But he is declaring here that he is going to lower all the pride of man at once, like this. And you know, we need to recognize there's so much pride in this time. Especially in this time, it's exactly as Shaul was talking about, you know, people or men or women loving themselves so much, for forsaking their fathers, their parents, and so on. And this is, you know, the generations that have been fulfilling that word. It's the pride of men. For Yahuwah of hosts has a day against all that is proud and lofty, against all that is lifted up, so that it is brought low, and against all the cedars of Lebanon that are high and lifted up, and against all the oaks of Bashan. What do you think he's talking about, the cedars and the oaks?
Why?
Yeah, what he's referring to.
When I was reading, I was thinking about the trees in general, because usually we look shadow under them, and we also use the material, like the wood that is coming from them for building our houses and things like that. So sometimes we forget that they are part of all the creation of Yahuwah, and we assign them maybe another kind of importance. I don't know.
My understanding is referring to people. People, men are compared to trees.
Yeah.
So the proud and lofty, you know, the cedar of Lebanon that are high and lifted up.
And the quality also of the wood, that in some case the one are really strong, so you use it for houses and things like that.
So let's think, you know, in the important people on this time and age, you know, those in positions that could be referring to, in positions not in the public service, in governments, also in companies. And against all the high mountains. My understanding of the high mountains, and we don't have time to go into there, but it's referring to places, it's referring to continents, it's referring to countries. And against all the hills that are lifted up, and against every lofty tower. How many towers we have in all the cities today. And against every strong wall. Remember, he's speaking about what's going to happen in his day. He has a day against all of this. This day has not happened yet. So all the description is talking about this day, this time, because we know that we're living in the end times. So the strong walls is the strong cities, lofty towers, big cities with high towers and buildings and skyscrapers and so on. And against all the ships of Tarshish, the economy, ships, you know, why we're able to have, and we were seeing this information the other day, why we are able to enjoy somehow the way we are living today.
It's because of that.
It's because of this.
Yeah, all the
logistics.
and how they are moving the different goods from one country to the other countries.
Yes. That's why everybody is so concerned about what's happening in the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz because of all these fights, because, it could cause a big disaster on the logistic, meaning that, what we are enjoying today on having things and goods from different places, we're not going to have it because they are going to destroy completely the logistic chain. So it is written here. This is going to happen somehow. Yahuwah is coming to destroy and clean the earth. And that's the third phase of cleansing. It's part of salvation. It's like circles, like the circles on the water. It's becoming from a smaller one to bigger one. So he is cleansing us. He's cleansing Israel. He's cleansing the world. So all the description that he's doing here is salvation and cleansing and washing of the world, but unfortunately it cannot be washed with water because it was already washed with water, and it didn't.
Yeah. No.
It held for a time.
Yeah. No.
Now he's coming with fire. And against all the desirable craft, and the loftiness of men shall be bowed down, and the pride of men shall be brought low. And Yahuwah alone shall be exalted in that day. And the idols completely pass away. And they shall go into the holes of the rocks and into the caves of the earth from dread of Yahuwah and the splendor of his excellency when he arises to shake the earth mightily. So there are things here that we are going to see it in the book of Revelation and also the book of Matthew. There are basically people going to the holes of the rock. We know what the rich people is doing with the bunkers and so on. They are preparing for something that is coming, for the caves of the earth. Dread of Yahuwah, the splendor of his excellency. He is coming to shake the earth mightily. In that day, man shall throw away his idols. So it's going to, that's why he's saying that the idols will completely pass away. It's going to be in that day. Because they are going to be so much in fear, they will recognize who he is, that they are going to throw all the idols away, his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which they made, each for himself to worship, to moles and bats, to go into the cleft of the rocks and into the cracks of the rocks, because of the fear of Yahuwah and the splendor, again, of his excellency, when he arises to shake the earth mightily. Cease from man, whose breath is in his nostrils. For in what is he to be reckoned upon? The breath in the nostrils. You remember we're talking about that? So, before moving to the other book, just to complement the information, we should, idols, and we have been talking about this, idol could be an external thing or internal, something that we don't see. Let's not wait to that day to throw away the idols. Because if we don't throw away those invisible idols, we can be burned. It was written in the last verse of the previous chapter, with a consuming fire. Let's throw away the idols now that we still have time. So we are going to be refined with the first fire and not consumed with the second. So if we go to the book of Revelation, chapter 6, it's exactly the same description. It says here, and I looked when he opened the 6 seals in the verse 12. And so a great earthquake came to be, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And the stars of the heaven fell to the earth as a fig tree drops its unripe figs, being shaken by a strong wind. So it's going to be a big one. And based on what I see in the book of Revelation, he's talking and describing several earthquakes, big earthquakes. And heaven departed like a scroll being rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved out of its place. And the sovereign of the earth, and the great ones, the cedars of Lebanon, the oaks of Bashan, and the rich one, and the commanders, and the mighty, and every slave, and every free one, hid themselves in the caves and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him sitting on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb, because the great day of his wrath has come, and who is able to stand? Is the day of YaHuWaH being described in this chapter 2, the book of YaHuWaH. And the splendor of his coming. Yahushua spoke about the same thing in the chapter 24 of the book of Matthew, when he said the following. When they were speaking about Messiah is there, is over there, is in the desert, and so on, it says, so if they say to you in the verse 26, look, he's in the desert, do not go out. Or look, he's in the inner rooms, do not believe. For as the lightning comes from the east and shines to the west, so also shall be the coming of the Son of Adam be. So what is describing, and that's my understanding, and my understanding is not say the word, my understanding. The sun will become black. In other books of the prophets it's saying it's going to be dark. So imagine we are at night. He's saying that they are going to be in fear because of the splendor of his excellency. And Yahushua is saying that he will come as the lightning comes from the east and shines to the west. So also shall be the coming of the Son of Adam. I do believe that is going to be like a lightning in the sky. And we will see that big light coming when it's totally dark. And that's the splendor of his coming, of his excellency. If we see everything dark and suddenly we see a big light, a lightning that is illuminating everything,
you cannot miss that.
we are not going to miss it. And most people is going to be afraid of it.
The only way that we are going to miss it is if we are sleeping, but we shouldn't be sleeping.
Absolutely.
We should be waiting.
The second chapter is completely related to what is going to happen, I do believe, very soon. And that's why, in the way that it's beginning the chapter 2, it's talking about the final situation. Everybody going to Jerusalem because, the light of the world is going to be there. The same lightning that everybody will see because it's the return of Yahushua to reign and to rule the earth is going to be shining on Jerusalem, from Jerusalem. So everybody will run to there in order to receive the Torah and the words. I don't want to be part of those that are running for the words and the Torah.
You want to be already there.
I want to be already there. Because if I'm already there, it's because I already have the Torah, I'm already with the light, and I already have the word. Those that are going to run, saying, let's go up, because they don't know. And they want to be
just discovering.
They want to learn.
They are in the first phase.
I want to learn now, and I think exactly what we're doing is to learn now, exactly as YaHuWaH was saying through YaHuWaH, learn to do good. And I do believe that this is exactly what we are doing now. We need to learn to do good. We need to remove and stop doing any type of evil. We need to refine and let the Ruach refine us in order to be in the mountain and not the ones going up. To be already in the mountain with Yahushua.
Maybe to be those saying hi to the ones that are coming.
Actually, in the promises to Jerusalem, it says, I'm going to restore the judges to you. What was the promise from Yahushua to the disciples?
Be kings and priests.
You are going to be sitting down with me
and
you are going to judge the tribes of Israel. So we are going to be judging. Maybe the disciples, I don't know how it's going to play at the end. But we are going to be part of those if we manage to go to the step, the second step of salvation, to be part of that group of people. And that's why, we have decided to walk in this way, because we want to be part of the restoration of all things, restoration of Jerusalem and the entire world.
Maybe be an assistant, I don't know. But the whole body needs to be really people who knew in depth about the righteousness, because that is what happening in, I don't know, in a bad justice system. Maybe only ones are righteous, but the rest that are working with them, they are not, and they're accepting bribes and things like that. But in the kingdom of Yahushua, it's going to be different. Everybody needs to be righteous. Everybody needs to work in the same way. So no matter if it's a high position or if it's just maybe opening the door, but with the same mind, with the same attitude, with the same heart.
Absolutely. So we spent more time, but it was the first one, and we put a lot of announcement at the beginning.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was good to start with the book of Isaiah Yeshayahu. I'm not gonna take time to read the comments of. We will do it later. But it was good. It was good to start with this one. It's so beautiful to see how we connect everything. Everything that we have been studying from Torah, from the other books, and now to see the hope and the expectation that Yahweh was given through the prophets, not only for Israel, for the entire world. And there's something so beautiful in when we look at it in this way. So I just going to invite you to again go to the site. I will put the link again to download the next portions.
Okay.
You can download the next portion, and also you can download a copy of the chart, and also a copy of the spreadsheet with the information of the kings. We really hope that this is going to, as we said, to help you in your studies. That's the reason we did it, just with love to share it with you all. So any final words before we put the final song?
Continue praying for all the flock, the ones that even we haven't seen them for a while, for those that have lived before, the ones that are living right now, the ones that are coming too. We need to also pray for the heart of our Father. I think that it's not easy for him to see what is happening over his creation. And we can ask him to help us to be a smile on his face and avoid giving more grief to his heart. So I think that we have to pray also for him and for everything that is going to happen over there. Yeah.
I agree. So thank you so much for being with us in this study. We really hope that this is being a blessing to you. It's always blessing us, you know, to going through the word and just to learn, because we are also learning.
Yeah.
So
be brave and courageous all the time.
Brave and courageous, yes. Strong and courageous.
Strong and courageous.
But brave is also part to be strong. So keep enjoying your Shabbat. We really hope to see you next Shabbat. In the meantime, keep preparing yourself, keep praying, get closer to Yahuwah. Stretch this bond and fortify this bond of the relationship between Abba and yourselves. Because we do it individually, automatically the Ruach is the one making us echad as part of the body of Yahushua, because he is the head, not like the head in the past that they were sick. This head is, is not sick. Actually, is the totally opposite.
It's the beautiful head.
Is the
pure one.
Is the 2.0 head, because was resurrected in a, uncorruptible body, and is the perfect head.
It already has the crown and everything.
Absolutely. And he's coming back, and he's coming back soon. So thank you so much. Enjoy your Shabbat, and see you next week. Yahuwah be with you all. Shabbat Shalom. Bye-bye.
Every tribe, every tongue, Emmanuel, your king shall come. End of sorrows, end of pain, come and praise Creator's name. Shore. All God's people say amen. Raise a shout, he's come again.